Well, hello, my Canadian friends. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to come to you. I appreciate you being willing to tackle this issue of integrity and doing the right thing, even when you're faced with expensive consequences, something that'd be costly. You know, just by you doing that, I've been able to reflect back on my own life and be able to see what seemed to be a tragedy twice, not once, but twice, actually turned out being a blessing in my life. It really, really did, and I'm glad to share that with you. Of course, in good conscience, I can't share all those good decisions that I made without saying that I've played the fool from time to time. I've made some poor decisions too. But hopefully we can learn from the good things that we do, from our successes, and also from our failures. For wise people, we will. Back in 1984, I had the privilege of working for Dale Carnegie Training. And while I was there, I was able to put on some seminars for Mr. Build, which was a home remodeling franchise that Art Bartlett started. Art started Century 21. And through that experience, I decided that I was going to become a franchisor myself. So I began to, first of all, to study what do you get when you get a franchise. And I found that you mostly get a cooperative advertising program and some educational information. And I began to look around at all the individuals, and I found that the lawyers needed a cooperative advertising program, but they really didn't need any of the education. I didn't need to get involved, so I created a licensing agreement. Unfortunately, the Florida bar said it was against the rules and regulations, so it took me almost 2 years in dealing with them before we were able to petition the Supreme Court of Florida for a rule change. Once we did, I had experienced explosive growth. It wasn't very long and we were in the millions of dollars in sales. Well, things can be good, things can be bad. If you're familiar with the Peter Principle, people are promoted to their level of incompetency. That was my particular situation. I went out and began to find me an investor / manager to help me to run the operation as we continued to grow and expand. Brought him in, actually ended up selling too much of my company, lost control of it, but I was happy because money was pouring in the door. Well, as sales continued to grow, we outsold our marketplace. We sold too many lawyers for the volume of calls that were coming in for us to be able to refer to them. And the solution that management has was continue to sell more, which means I literally was forced with the situation of having my sales team go in and lie, okay, sorry to use that word, but lie or to exaggerate the benefit that they would receive of being part of our program. Now, at some point, you've got to draw a line in the sand. I'm just not equipped to do that. It's ethically wrong. I just couldn't go forward on it. Well, my decision ended up costing me my home in Florida, my condo in Chicago, 2 new cars, all of my toys. And I thought I lost everything. But in reality, hindsight says it was maybe the best decision that I ever made. Because I saved my family, I ended up maintaining my integrity, and I had peace of mind. You know, the rewards long term for doing the right thing can be extremely powerful and rewarding. You know, I wish I could say that I always made good decisions, but no, I didn't. About 5 years after that incident, I was actually reading an article in the American Bar Association, and there was just a little bit of advertisement in there, and there's a gentleman by the name of Bill Spiesman, PI Profit Builders, that wanted me to send and get a cassette and a little report. Well, I got that information in, and I remember sitting in my office and beginning to read that, and these lights began to go off in my head, and I began to have a paradigm shift. I began to see things a little bit different. And I realized the things that Bill was doing was far better than what I was doing as far as for my customer. It was the right way for a lawyer to begin to build his market. It's really building word-of-mouth referrals, not mass media advertising. See, the challenge there with the mass media advertising is, yes, they were getting lots of calls in the door, but maybe only 10% of them, 15% of them actually became clients. But when you were putting your marketing dollars towards building word-of-mouth referrals, you were getting 80-90% of everybody that called you ended up becoming a client. You dealt with a whole lot less people, but it was better because you didn't waste your time. Well, by having that paradigm shift and that understanding, now in good conscience, I could not continue to go out and to sell what I was doing. I had started the business the second time myself, and I had kept control of it and had already grown up and had a significant number of lawyers. But I could no longer, in good conscience, here again, go in to sell something that I knew was not best for my client. Now, fortunately, this time I made a decision much quicker. And because I did make that decision much quicker, I was able to really just coast. I didn't sign up any new clients, all right, but I let my other clients know what was going on, and I literally took about a year and a half, almost 2 years off because I had the business so it would sort of run itself with no new sales. They were all on contracts, and I just let things sort of close off for themselves. I'm sure that it cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars in potential revenues and what I could have sold the business for. But here again, making the right decisions can always reward you. It's all about doing the right thing. You may have to suffer some short-term pain, but it's going to be worth the long-term gain. Thanks again. I look forward to seeing you in February. If you allow me, one of the things I want to do is be able to give all your attendees a special tool to help them make a decision with. It's a mnemonic device. Mnemonics is just a trigger for your brain to help you to remember things. It requires a paradigm shift in that normally when you see this particular device, you think of it as a thing of chance, maybe a thing of gambling or something along those lines. In order to have a paradigm shift, you're going to want to see it as a thing of choice. Instead of seeing it as a toy, you want to see it as a tool. And that, my friend, is dice, or a die. You know, this is a casino die. It's a thing of chance. This is a 7-sided gold die. It's a thing of choice. This is a toy. This is a tool. It's a tool to help us to organize our thoughts. Now, I'll show you with this big one here. Each side just triggers your brain to remember something. If you were racing around the board as fast as you can possibly go with one of these, you might roll a 2, you might roll a 3, but 6 would be your highest. That would be your best. With this, you take a chance of doing your highest. With this, you choose to do your highest, or you choose to do your best. And that's what all decision making is about. It's about choosing to do our best. But how do we do our best? By focusing on one thing at a time. It's the power of focus. Every time that we've ever done our best in our entire life is because we've been willing to focus. And any one thing that we're willing to focus on, we know there's two sides. There's what we know and what we don't know about that one thing we want to do our best on. And so we can't have a closed mind. We have to have an open mind. Ben Franklin used to take a sheet of paper and he would divide it in half. He would put the cons on one side and he would put the pros on the other side. If you and I actually want to do our absolute best on any one thing, we realize that we've got to be open-minded, that we got to try to see things, as Mr. Dale Carnegie would say, from the other person's point of view. Well, decision-making is exactly that. It's being able to take and look at something short-term, how's this going to impact me? Long-term, how is it going to impact me? What is the cost here? What is the benefit that we're going to get? And side 3 is really cool because you're going to be right here in the middle. You're going to talk to this person and get some outside advice, and that person's going to be gone, but you're going to know more about that one thing you want to do your best on. And then you're going to talk to this person over here, and this person's going to be gone. But because you've talked to this person, you've talked to that person, you've sought outside advice, you're going to know a whole lot more about that one thing that you're committed to do your best on. And that's what decision making is all about. It's about committing to do our best based on the information that we know. However, when we don't know what we need to know, then we've got to go out and talk to the person on our right. We've got to go out and talk to the person on our left, or begin to get advice anywhere that we can so we can make a wise decision. Anytime that you're willing to seek outside counsel and to divide things down and truly look at both sides, to understand the short term and the long term, you can make a wise decision. And that's what we're really talking about today, is making wise decisions. Yes, I've made some good decisions that have cost me dearly, but then I've made some bad decisions too. And the good ones are far better. So I encourage you, make good decisions. I look forward to seeing you on February 24th in beautiful Canada. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you.